Welcome back to the Chicano Podcast, guys. I hope everybody's having a good day. I really want to get into this little topic today. Um, Let me read it right away so you guys can understand where I'm coming from, and I want to see what you guys think. El Paso police arrested four girls accused of causing over $100,000 in damage after breaking into two East Side schools, officials say. On Tuesday, the girls' ages are 15, 13, and 12 years old. They broke into two schools, two elementary schools over the weekend. The video circulating on social media appeared to show people running out of the school as a fire alarm rang in the background during a break-in at night. After police investigation, the girls were detained on charges of burglary of a building, but could face added charges for a fire started inside the elementary on Sunday night, officials say. The arson case is being handled by investigators with the El Paso fire marshals. The schools, the girls, let me see, the the girls who are from the east side were detained by police, turned over to the juvenile justice authorities. The girls' names were not released because they are juveniles. Um, so these girls ended up going into um, two schools and basically burglarized, and they caused over $100,000 in damage um, while they were into those schools. Which, okay, they were arrested. You know what I mean? I agree. They they ended up burning something. I'm assuming in the schools or something like that. Now, I had heard on a morning radio show from one of the like top influencers here in El Paso. Um, he was like, "Oh man, these girls will never learn the way that we are teaching our parents, the way that we are teaching our kids about life lessons isn't working out." He said that parents are not strict enough, or they're not stern enough as far as like these kids, like for example, that they're, for what reason these young girls are committing arson and burglarizing a school, two schools. I'm sure it was because of boredom, because they want to get some type of clout. Um, Over $100,000 in damage. I don't see it. You know what I mean? How can they do that? Maybe if the fire turned on several rooms, or some type of deal. You know how it is when you're dealing with schools. Once you're dealing with schools, everything, you know what I mean, just maximizes as far as penalties and the school zone and all that stuff. It just, you know what I mean, escalates so quickly. Now, this guy said that we're not doing that, not we, but as a community, that parents aren't as strict as they should be, or you know what I mean. Like he was saying, like back in the days, there was no way we as kids, our parents would not whoop our asses. You know what I mean? Their parents would whoop our asses and all this other stuff. And he's like, there's no way that we would be doing that stuff. And it's like, okay, I see your point. And then he's like, these kids should be held accountable for this, because those $100,000 in damage are going to be paid for by the people, the community's pockets, by the district pockets. And he's like, and they should make the parents pay and all this other stuff. And then okay, I agree to some point. You know what I mean? And then he said, he was like, no, well, um, these kids should have this on their record for burglary and arson all the way to their 25, so they can learn what life is really about and all this stuff. That because they're 15, 13, 12, 15, 13, and 12 and 12, that they're not going to learn anything, that they're just going to be like whatever about it, and that they should make an example out of them, and that it should be on their records till the 25. And this is where, yeah, I mean, I kind of, I disagree here. because yes, these kids are bored. They're doing stuff that they shouldn't. They shouldn't be doing this at all. Um, I think by going into, because he was like they should go and do time at the juveniles at the juvie and stuff like that. And I I do agree. You know what I mean? If they're gonna be doing stuff like that, then you know what I mean. You need to put a little bit of scare into them, is what he was trying to persuade. And I do agree to a certain extent. Now, do you guys think that because they were committing burglary and arson, because I think arson is this is what makes it super dangerous. Um, but do you guys think that these kids should have this on their record until they're 25 or forever? Like that's where I was like, really? Like I understand. I mean, it's dangerous. They shouldn't be doing this, but when you put something on their record, it really affects you. It really affects you as far as getting a job. It really affects you as far as moving forward. It really affects you in every way possible. When you have it on, people won't hire you. People won't. You know what I mean? They'll look at your resume, and it doesn't matter if you're a college graduate. It doesn't matter if you finish high school. It doesn't matter if you know two languages. It doesn't matter if you have very, you know what I mean, good references or whatever you want to call it. Like you could have all that, and then if you still have the burglary and the arson as a thing on your record, of course a lot of people are gonna be like, nope, you did this when you were. They don't even look at when you did it. You know what I mean? They don't care. People hiring, they're like, oh, you have a record, you have a priors, okay, next, and they'll hire somebody that doesn't qualify, that barely has a high school degree or whatever, over a person that has a record. Now, should the girls be held accountable? Yeah. Is there different ways of teaching these girls a lesson? Yes. How about some community service? You know what I mean? Make them clean the school. You know what I mean? Make them do some hours. That I think that's very humbling. Make them go pick up trash over there in downtown, because that's a possibility that happens. Um, should they go into some classes? Yes, I agree. You know what I mean? The parents need to be aware of what their kids are doing. The parents, of course, you're not gonna know all the time, but this was at night. Where are your kids? Um, but to keep it on the record, I think that's where we as a society need to stop doing stuff like this, because you're holding something that somebody's doing at 15, 13, and 12 accountable, or you're holding on you're putting them in a bad situation to start life. Like your life as far as an adult, you start at 18. Once you graduate high school, then you have to move forward. Whether you go to college, whether you go to work, whether you do both, whether you go to technical school, whatever. But if you already have you already have a mess up on your record at that age, then that's gonna lead to, oh, you know what? Nobody's hiring. Um, nobody wants to hire me. Nobody wants to do work with me. This was when I was 12, 13. Oh, but we don't care. We're still not going to hire you because, you know what I mean, you have priors. Now, like I've been saying, that takes too much. What's going to lead to that is going to be, they're going to be like, oh, well, I can't get a job. What am I going to do? Oh, well, now I'm going to go into the crime world. Now I'm going to go into, oh, I'm going to become, well, drug dealer, because, you know what I mean, I don't need to be doing all this stuff. That nobody wants to hire me. I'm going to lose I won't have any type of money to support myself. Now I have to stay with my parents, or my parents have kicked me out, and now what am I gonna do? So now what they're gonna do is, oh well, I'm gonna ask for help, the government help, whether it's food stamps, whether it's, you know what I mean, any type of government help, or Medicaid or Medicare, whatever you guys want to call it. Um, so then that just becomes a burden on the society when they're perfectly capable of working. But just because of the record, they won't hire them. So that's just like beating our own society out. You know what I mean? What you want them to do is stay busy. You want them to be working so they won't be bored doing this type of crimes. So they won't be 18 selling drugs. You know what I mean? You want them to be working at Starbucks. You want them to be working at your restaurants and McDonald's and other stuff, so they won't be bored, so they won't turn to crime, so they won't be committing. You know what I mean? So I agree. Maybe in the juvie. You know what I mean? Maybe in the juvie, give them a couple days, scare them for the weekend. The 100,000 in damage. Okay, I see the $100,000. Look it all over, make sure that they return all the stuff, and then make them do community service. Maybe even take them to an alternative school like Cesar Chavez, where you know what I mean it's not the best thing, not the best idea because when you send them over to an alternative school where there's other kids that are cagapalos, then they're just gonna learn more about crime instead of educating them. You know what I mean? But what do you guys think about this? How would you guys feel if you're the parent of these 15, 13, 12 year olds committing these type of crimes and they were going to be like, "Oh, okay. Well, here you go. We're going to we're going to charge you the 100,000. They're going to do um juvie time and then on the record it's going to be on till they're 25 or for the rest of their life." Do you think that's fair? For a mistake that teens, do you know what teens think? Do you have you guys teens are far from perfect. Teens are not, they don't think about consequences, they think about now, they think about gear, they think about girls, men. Their mind is all over the place. Clearly, it's not developed. Clearly, it's not developed. But do you guys think it's okay to do that? No, of course not. You know what I mean? I don't think so. Well, how would you guys think? You know what I mean? If you guys are the parents of these, what do you guys think is a fair punishment for these teens that committed arson and robbery or burglary. Chicano out.